Hello and welcome back to Blake's Den, and in this video I'm going to see why my Kipor diesel generator no longer wants to start. Let's make a start. So I bought this the other day as a non-running item. Story is, guy had it, used to use it to power his workshop. Well, not a workshop, it was more like an office in the yard. And he was finding it was getting harder and harder to start. He has spent a fortune on this. It has had a new cylinder head gasket, a new piston rings, a new piston, new battery and new starter, and it's still not playing ball. So what happens? If I show you now, if I flick the switch to start, we get the crank but no start, and it comes up start delay. We get the warning lights there which says it's a failed start, and then the service light's on. I'm not worried about the service light. So yeah, it doesn't want to go. It came with a whole load of spares. So I've got a new voltage rectifier. I've got this, which is a load of engine parts, which came from another generator, another Kipor one. I'm assuming it's pronounced Kipor or Kipor. Let me know in the comments. And I've also got things like parts diagrams for the engine, all the instructions, the warranty information, even the original toolkit. It has done quite a few hours, 6,500 hours, which is a lot. But I'm not actually going to use it that much. It's going to be used as a backup supply for my house. So, yeah, we need to find out what's wrong. I already did some basic diagnostics on this off camera. The air filter element goes in on the side. I took that off and I squirted in brake cleaner, still wouldn't start. Repeated starts, just wouldn't do it. Tried putting blow hot air down the intake, that made no difference either. One thing I did notice is when I was cranking it over and I had the doors open, there was quite a lot of smoke, like exhaust smoke, from inside the unit. I think, and this is just a guess, the head gasket is either gone again, or it's not been done correctly, or the cylinder head is warped. So it's not getting enough compression to run. Obviously it's diesel, so there's no spark to worry about. All you need is fuel and compression. I checked the fuel, it's got plenty of fuel in it. I popped the fuel line off. It's got tons of fuel, nice freely flowing, clean fuel, no water in it. So basically, yeah, I need to start tearing into this to find out what is going on. So I think the first job is get this cover off. Looks like it's a number of M10 screws holding the cover on, and I think this whole outer bit should lift off. I'm not sure how it works around the control panel. That might get a bit interesting, but I'll see if I can get that off, and that'll expose the engine, and then see what's going on. Just whizzed the side cover off. There you go. So you can see the side of the engine, and see, I can turn it over. It gets like there is compression there. Yeah, that's quite hard to turn now, one-handed. I can just about break through it. So there is some compression, and you can see it goes a lot easier on the exhaust stroke, on the intake stroke. So something is happening. Yeah, I'm just trying to work out, do I need to take the rest of this off to get the cylinder head off or not? I may be able to get, it's very dark for you here, but yeah, I may be able to get in and get that off and have a look at what's going on. On the other hand, it might just be easier just to take this whole cover off. I don't think it's much holding it on. It's just a series of bolts. Oh, we've got another inspection panel on the back. Yeah, I think I'll just take the whole cover off. So this cover seems to be loose now. I'm conscious that I can't take it off fully because of the wiring for the control panel. So let's just see. Yeah, and obviously the diesel tank's in the top as well. So how do I do this? Actually, I may have enough access just by doing that and tipping it forwards. So I can now see the top of the engine. The top of the engine has a decompression lever, which seems to be working. I cranked that off camera, but let's show you what happens now. I turn it on and crank it now. So it pops up straight away. So gives that initial I don't know what you'd call it, a little bit of help that there's no compression event when it fires back up. So happy it's not that lever that's the problem. But what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to pop this valve cover off. I'm going to check the valve clearances first, and then if that's still not right, we'll start digging down deeper and deeper and find out what the problem is. So I've taken a good look at this and I can't see anything obviously wrong. There's a bit of play in the valves, but nothing, or the rockers, nothing obvious. So I think, there's nothing for it really. I've got to take the head gasket, or take the head off to see what the head gasket's like. Looks fairly straightforward to do. I've got diesel return line to remove, the diesel feed line to remove, got the exhaust to remove. I'm going to do that first. So that's under here. It's sort of an acoustic enclosure, I think it is. So I need to pop off all of these bolts here and then try and get the panel off, and then we'll see the exhaust and then disconnect that. With that cover off, you can see the exhaust and the flexible joint, and then it looks like there's two 13mm nuts which hold the exhaust in place, so we'll get those off. So I have those two bolts removed now, and that should allow me to, there we are, and fully remove the exhaust section. So let's move that out the way, and that will give me some better access. To remove the diesel line to the injector, that's a 17mm. So we'll just back that off. It's all very dirty under here. I mean, it does look like the rocker cover gasket's been leaking. It was torn, but yeah, it's obviously, it's lived a life, this one. So let's see if we can get that undone and out the way. So yeah, I'll just bend out the way there. Cool. For the return line, that's just a case of popping off the cable, not the cable, the pipe clamp, and pulling that off, he says. Yeah, it's coming off slowly. Now we'll just put that up there out the way. Remember to put that on later. Right, okay, so now got 4 big bolts holding this head on. It looks like I might have to take this panel off as well. It's not really doing much, that panel. So 10mm and then a couple of bigger ones there. So yeah, we'll whiz that off and get that out of the way too. So we've got enough clearance there now to whiz off these head bolts. So seem pretty tight. Maybe they're too tight. That one seemed a bit loose. I'll just keep rattling these up. like somebody's put these down really, really tight. Except one. Could that be why it wasn't running right? I'm going to swap to a manual tool to get those off because they are really tight. Right, I've got them loose now, so they can come out. And they should come off. What is preventing this from being lifted up now? I think it's just caught on the shield. There we are. And the push rod, so there you can see a relatively new piston and a cylinder head gasket. There's some marks on that. What I think I need to do is take this over to the bench and give it a good looking at. So this is the head on the workbench. Nothing unusual about it really. I mean, it's not an awful lot of pitting there. That's quite bad. That could be why we're not getting a very good seal. Got some marks around here as well. I wonder if it's just not sealing up right. Yeah, that's some really bad pitting on there. I don't know what would cause that. Yeah, I want to have a look at the valves as well. So if I push the valves from below, yeah, there's quite a lot of carbon deposits around the valves. So I think they need coming out in a good cleaning up. So that's going to be my next job, strip this down and clean it up. I think I might have just found the problem. If you look at this bolt hole here, there's a lot of damage around it. And there's a lot of pitting marks around here, like dirt, carbon deposits, right? If we go and check the generator, so that hole on the head relates to this hole here. Let me just move this light so you can see better. So there's a little peg there and a little peg there, locating peg. But I think that bolt has been helicoiled, and that helicoil is flush with the surface. Look, I can flick it with my finger, and there's all dirt all the way around it. If I take the gasket off, yeah, look, it's all carbon deposits there, where it obviously wasn't sealing right. I think that helicoil might be the problem. Definitely not helping the job, because you could have the headers squished down as tight, but if that's physically stopping it from going flat, then that's always going to give you a compression leak. How do we fix that then? So, executive decision made. I'm going to pull out this helicoil. So it should come out like a big spiral. That just shot across the garage and landed somewhere. That wasn't even, well, I'll see if I can slow-mo it, but that was nowhere near what it should have been in terms of size and length. So now if I just run my tap down now. So, I mean, interestingly, you know, this hole here is tapped right at the top. I think that's helicoiled. These two here are really low down. So I think that it's like a plain hole and then it becomes threaded almost. What I'm going to do, I'm going to carefully run the tap down in here, see if I can clean up the threads and try putting a new helicoil in and try to get it as flat as I can in the head. Yeah, I think that's got to be a reason why it was losing compression. I mean, look at all the dirt around the head gasket. Yeah. Right, let me have a play around with this and I'll bring you back once I've made some progress. So, with that helicoil out, I've just sent a bolt down in that hole and it went in absolutely fine and seemed to bite quite fine. It's almost like it's not needed or someone's trying to fix something which isn't the problem, but when you look at this bolt, and I don't think the camera will pick it up very well, the threads are all stripped on it. And I don't think that's something I did when I took it out. It looks quite dark like it's happened a while ago. So I think a new cylinder head bolt probably wouldn't go amiss either. Interesting. Anyway, I'm going to keep at it and start cleaning things up. Cleaning up the cylinder head there with a scraper, get the carbon deposits off. And watch this. If I come from the side, can you hear that? There's a lip around that hole, which is where that helicoil was. So I don't think I've pulled that out when I've taken the bolt out. I think that's been like that for some time. That's not going to help with sealing it either. So I'm going to give it a really good clean. I think I'm going to take the valves out as well. I'm going to clean around the valve seats. And then I'm probably actually going to give it a really light sand, just to take any imperfections out of it. And then we'll drop it back on and see what happens. It's the next day now. I've ordered some bolts for this on the head. It should actually have studs, but it doesn't have studs, so it suggests someone's messed up in the past. But anyway, I've ordered some more bolts. And yeah, I'm just going to get the valves out of the head. So I've got my valve spring compressor. And it's quite a simple tool to operate, really. I'm just hoping I can get this in a way where you can see it. So there's a flat end where you put on the valve, and then you've got the other end which sits on the top there. And the idea is you need to compress that spring down so that it releases a little collet, which is like a split thing which holds the cap on there, and then the spring will come out and the valve can come out. So let's see if we can do this. I'm not sure if this will actually, might be too big of a tool. I might have to put a spacer in or a socket in or something. Okay, no, I can just get it to work, I think. So it has actually compressed the valve down a bit, but I don't think it's compressed it enough. So on that basis then, I'm going to have to put something at the bottom here just to pack it out a little bit. A bit of wood or something like that. So I've got a bit of wood in there now, and hopefully this will allow me to lock this. Oh, okay, I need to back it in a bit more because it's like a cam action. So there we are. And then, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's two little collets in the top of the valve here, which are always fiddly to get out, even fiddlier to get back in. So there's one. Put that in a tub, and then I'll get the other one out. Sometimes it helps to use a magnetic pickup tool to do this, or a screwdriver. In fact, yeah, I'm going to get a screwdriver. So this is the exhaust valve I'm taking out. There we are. That's out. Now if I then release that, put that down, I can get the little cup off the top and get the valve off, and then I can remove the valve. Ta-da! So the reason I've done that is I just want to clean up the valve seat. It's very carbony in there, so lots of bits of black, and that might not look like much, but if that stops the valve from seating correctly, then that could you know, make you lose compression. So yeah, it is quite bad in there, so I'm going to set to and get that cleaned up. So I've cleaned it up a bit, and yeah, there's a bit of damage around the valve seat on the exhaust. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to lap the valves in. So you put some paste on. I'm using fine paste here, and then drop that in. Why is it not going in? valve stems are really stiff for some reason. Am I doing the right side here? Let's think about this. Hang on. No, that's the intake side. Yeah, that's the right valve. That valve should go in there. Different size. There we are. Just needed a little bit of helping hand. And then you get this plunger, and then you plunger it on there. And my plunger is not very good, but there you go. You're supposed to spin the valve, and you can hear it sort of making a cutting sound, and then eventually that sound will change, and it's basically just cleaning up the surface. So you've got to then pop it out. You've then got to then put all the paste back in again on the edge, and then yeah, just keep doing that until I'm happy, really. So very old school. Anyone who's got an old car, you probably will have done this before. So I'm just going to work away doing that until I've got these as good as I can make them. Just doing a quick test on the cylinder head before I assemble it. And what I've got here, I've just got some soapy water I normally use for checking tyres and things like that. I've just sprayed that on there, and if I get my airline and just blow in here, yeah, we're getting bubbles there. That means that valve is not sealing correctly. Yeah, it means we're going to be losing compression. But I'd check from the other side, the exhaust valve, or is that the exhaust? No, this is the exhaust side. Yeah, it's definitely not sealing. So I need to do some more work on that to get it sort of lapped in and get it seated the best I can. Well, I'm going to go ahead and fit this. I did lap the valve in a bit more. It got a little bit better. Still a bit of bubbling around it. But I did another test where I dropped some oil on top of it and sort of left it sitting there for a bit, and it didn't drain away. So we'll see how it goes. I think you've got the advantage of when you are when you're running this, obviously it's under pressure, so it's trying to force the valve shut. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Right, I'm going to try and get this back on. So I've got the new cylinder head gasket on. I just need to dodge the push rods, make sure they're in their little push rod channels. And then the cylinder head's gasket is located on the some little tangs which locate it. And then I just need to get the head in the right position. That feels right. No, not quite there yet. So that head actually doesn't feel like it wants to sit flat. So what's going on there? Why is that? Is it because of the... Okay, it could just be the push rods causing that issue. Yeah, I've not got the push rods in the right place. Yeah, it was the push rod stopping it. So, right, I'm gonna wrestle this, and then I'll bring you back when I'm putting the bolts in. Right, I've got that in position now. I've got the tappets in here. All I did was just turn the engine over by hand, and I've put the head bolts in, and I'm just gonna very gingerly tighten them up by hand, sort of working my way around. Now, interestingly, out that spare engine set, there was head bolts in there as well. So I don't know if that's like a design change they've done. They've changed from studs to bolts or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, just thought it was odd that I've got sort of two sets of bolts. Obviously, you've got, I say, one head stripped. I did buy some other ones off Amazon, but I'm not going to need them, but they'll do for another project. So, right, I'm just going to very slowly and gently get these in, because what I don't want to do is damage any threads. And then we'll torque the head up. The handbook, or the exploded diagram, says between 54 and 58 Newton meters. So I think we'll split the difference at 56, and we'll tighten that up, and we'll just continue to put bits back together. So I'll bring you back when I've got the torque wrench out. So a strange thing happened there when I was putting the bolts in. All went in fine except this one. So this is the one where the thread was stripped and had the helicoil. And basically, if I wound the bolt in with only one washer under it, it would bottom out, the bolt. So I've ended up having to put 3 washers under it now to get it in position and, you know, to tighten it up by hand. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I've got this set to 56. So all I'm going to do is just work my way around. Okay, that one's getting to 56. I'm just going to work my way around gently. So I tighten it nice and evenly. So that's 56. I must admit, I don't like the way this one feels. It feels a bit like it's not gripping very well, but maybe it is tightening up. You don't want it to go from a righty-tighty to a righty-loosey, do you? This one done. Good. Do this one. Let's see if we can get this one done. Something doesn't quite feel right. Is it going to tighten or not? I don't think that one's going to tighten, you know. I just feel like it's spinning now. Okie dokie. We might be able to get away with it like that. I won't leave it like that for now. I'm not going to make it any worse. What I want to do a quick and nasty test on this of a will it run. So I'm going to reconnect the diesel line, and then I'm with the exhaust off and the air intake off. I'm going to try firing it up and see what happens. So give me a second to get this into position, and we'll hopefully it'll go brum brum. Right, I've got the injector pipe on now, not hooked up the fuel tank, but we have got diesel in the filter. No intake, no exhaust. I've turned the engine over by hand. It feels okay. It actually does feel like it has more compression than it did before, which is good. So, quick and dirty test. Let's put the battery on. And see if it makes vroom sounds. Is that the negative? Nope. Then wrong way around. That would have been a good start, wouldn't it? Negative. Oh, I've got the battery the wrong way around. The excitement is getting to me. I don't expect this to run, to be honest. We have got air in the diesel lines, so it will take a bit to purge that. Plus, I'm not 100% convinced I've fixed the compression issues, particularly with that dodgy bolt. But let's give it a bash and see what happens. So, prepare for some noise. That's the key on. Nothing yet. Ooh, it felt like it wanted to go there to me. And a big pop back out the intake there. Okay. Why would that be? So with the injector removed now, the engine should crank freely because there'll be no compression. And all I'm going to do is just put this little pot over it. Now you probably can't see, but I can see. I'll be able to see if the injector is actually spraying fuel. Well, I didn't see anything come out there. Interesting. Let's try it again. Yeah, it worked that time. So we are getting fuel up to the injector, which is good. Right, so now let's put that back in and see what happens. Right, fast forward a few days. I put it together, torqued the head down and managed to get the torque settings. All good. Turned it over, zero compression, like none. I could turn the fan over one finger. Something had gone catastrophically wrong. Checked the valves were fine. So I took the head off again, and I tell you what, it took some getting off. And this is what happened. So, one helicoil is still attached to one stud there. That's just ripped out the head. The other one's in the process of ripping out. Not good. And then, if we look up here, I'm not sure if this camera is going to pick it up well or not. Let's just move the light to a better position. But there's a crack on the block there by that stud. Yeah, I just think it's too far gone this now. I could probably helicoil the holes again. I could go up a size, but then I'm not going to get the head bolts through the head unless I drilled the head some more, which I don't really fancy doing. Yeah, I mean, I could helicoil it, then put another helicoil in, but that just sounds a bit dodgy. I could fill it full of chemical metal and re-drill it. That could be an option, but then you've still got this big crack here. And to be honest, that helicoil is beginning to come out as well. You know, it's a lot of effort. I think it's time I just bit the bullet and said enough's enough with this engine. I find another engine, I rip this one out, and it can be a great parts engine. It's got lots of new bits on it. Yeah, I mean, they're not... You can buy a new one for like £500, the engine. Ideally, I need to find if I can find a generator with a good engine, but the generator bit doesn't work, I can turn two bad ones into one good one. Yeah. And then this one, I could just throw it in an auction or something, saying it's spares and repair or something, and see what happens. So, I mean, I took a risk when I bought this. I knew it would be a risk. It wasn't, sold as a non-runner. So I'm not going to go at the guy I bought it from. I can see it's had money spent on it, but it's just a bit far gone now. So I filmed an ending for this video a few weeks ago where I said I just could not get this working. Just could not get compression. And I kind of left it there, and I thought, it's not really the ending I wanted. Then I had a bit of a thought. Basically, I've got nothing to lose here. These two studs are pretty solid. It's these two which have a problem. Why don't I re-drill those even further down into the block, and then put a brand new tap the hole and put a brand new helicoil in, because I was finding that the helicoils were just stripping out, which is probably just because the block's so soft and just so worn. So I'm going to drill it and see what happens. So wish me luck. I've re-drilled those holes now. I didn't film it. It's not a hole drilling and tapping channel this. And I've got my helicoil insert. I'll get that down as far as it'll go. And then I'll start winding it in. Now, I'm going to have a problem here because I'm going to run out of throw on this die, whatever it's called, tool which pushes it in. So I'm going to have to be clever and come up with a better way of winding that in, but I'll do the same on the other side as well. Right, fast forward a bit, I've got the studs in. I had to make some longer studs because obviously the holes are further down. I had this homemade screwdriver. Well, it's not homemade, it's a screwdriver. I've cut a groove in. Normally use it for doing springs on drum brakes. I managed to get that in to wind the helicoil in, and to be honest, they feel really secure. I've also tidied up around this one, and yeah, it has got a crack, but the crack's radiating away from the ball, so I'm not too worried about that. So I've just blown it down with the airline, get all the bits of swarf off, and then I'll put the head on, and let's see what happens. Well, things have escalated somewhat. I cannot get this stud to stay in at all, even after I've re-drilled it and tapped it. The one over here came out, but it seems to go back in. So I've used JB Weld, which I don't think will work, but I've got nothing to lose. So what's JB Weld? It's 2-part epoxy, supposed to be very strong, some of the best stuff you can get, and yeah, our strongest epoxy. Let's hope this will do the job. It might work temporarily. I don't think it's a long-term solution. I still think I need a new block, but let's see what happens. A couple of days later now, and that is set solid. I mean, I can move the whole thing. So yeah, we'll put it together, see how it goes. I think it'll hold. I don't know how long it'll hold for. So when I've checked the technical sort of data sheet for the JB Weld, it will resist the pressure that cylinder head will see, but the performance drops off with temperature, and obviously engines get warm. But this is right close to the coolant fins. I don't know how hot it's going to be. It's also right close to the cylinder head. You know, the cylinder. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to whiz this back together, and as I say, it's the last chance saloon anyway, so we'll see what happens. Well, it's back together and it's no worky. So I'll show you what I've done here. I've set up my dial test indicator off my lathe. Don't worry about what the number is, but when I tighten up this nut, you can see the needle moving. So that means the top of this bolt is moving. So basically, I think as I tighten down on that, it's basically just pulling the bolt out. It's either stretching the bolt or it's pulling out all that JB Weld I put in. And as a result, it means there's not enough compression. There is compression. I think I've improved it. When I turn it over, I can barely turn it over by hand. And it makes all the right noises. But when you go to start it, I'll just reach over. I took the starter wire off before. Right, so we'll try that now. It's just the same, so just no compression. So it was worth a try, but nope, it is dead. I didn't want to end the video like that because I like to fix things. I don't like it when things don't fix, but you know, that's the reality. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. This will come back. The solution is rip this engine out and just put another engine in. They come up quite often on eBay. About £500 for a new one, or a Chinese new one, I should say. If you want a Yanmar one, or Yanmar, they are a bit more. But yeah, there's some second-hand ones come up every now and again. So I think, unfortunately, this has beaten me for now. So if you got this far, thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, press that like button. If you got any questions or comments, fire them below. And please consider subscribing to the channel. It costs you nothing. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.